is remittance and how this is the regulations related, how the country is taking steps for promote the remittance and the impact of remittance in Indian economy. So that's our objectives for this session. So before just going into that, whenever we look into the economic impact, we also look into the various aspects of this on the social concern. And for example, the international remittance at a household level, how far at household level the economical impact is taking place. How the existing policies play in the remittance behavior in India, right? So, what modes of transfer are used and what impact do remittance have on the economic as well as social well-being? As we always the part of whenever we study the arts and science courses, the social well-being, the impact on the society need to be studied. It's much bigger than only the economic aspects. And the impact of remittance on the household, community, and national level that we are going to look into. So, the remittance that we need to create. So, what is the remittance is all? And we talk about the financial or non-financial transfer made by migrants to their home countries. So it's not just crediting them, it's called remittance. So when you say remittances, these are the financial or non-financial transfer made by migrants to typically to support family members, which contribute to reducing poverty, education, health, and fostering economic growth. So Reserve Bank of India defines remittance to prevent transfers, including workers' remittances to families, local deposits, personal gifts, and charitable contributions. So it's very clear what this remittance is. So very important aspect, and we are looking into. First, we need to understand what this remittance is about. So Indian migrants can be the important source of trade, capital, technology, and knowledge for countries of origin and destination. So very, very important that the international migrants play a vital role in developing the trade, first of all, of their home, and increasing the capital, as well as developing the technology as a whole in the country. Right. So the recorded remittance to the low and middle income countries are estimated to be $600 billion in 2020, right? So, which they estimated in 2021 that in 2022 it will be around or near to $700 billion. So, the remittance 2021 are the top recipients of officially recorded remittance in 21 in India is 89 billion, right? Billion or there, followed by Mexico, China, Philippines, and other countries. And when you look into the remittances over the time is commonly used term, whichever is however rarely defined. So the defined remittance as the sum of selected balance of payments flows, right? Define what is remittances. So various definitions is prevailing. For example, the United Nations has defined the remittances in terms of personal transfers, personal remittances, and total remittances. So when you say personal transfer remittances is equal to compensation of employees minus social contributions plus personal transfer and capital transfers between households. So they have a definition to calculate what is all about, right? So when we are talking about the earning of workers residing abroad for less than 12 months, including the value of kind and benefits, right? So it is important for us to, as a learners, to understand the definition of catch hold of the Reserve Bank of India's definitions, which is refers to private transfers, including workers' remittance and family maintenance, local withdrawals from NRI and deposits. So, key characteristics of remittances. The types of transfers includes cash and non-cash transfers as well as channels like formally they will transfer from banks, money transfer organization like Western Union, MoneyGram, telegraphic transfers and electronic system. Right? So you hawala or direct cash transfers. So which government will look into the flow, and hawala transaction is documented. So even direct cash transfers much beyond a limit is documented. So what is the economic impact of that? Definitely, if a person goes abroad from a rural background or a person out of his skilled or unskilled labor, if he go and does his labor in abroad, labor abroad, definitely the purpose of that person is to reduce the poverty at the household level. Probably a loan the family has, or the upcoming marriage of the family, or any kind of investment they need to put up, or building or construct a house, or any other reasons. There are many reasons they go. And the main purpose of the planning to go abroad is probably reducing the poverty of the household level, especially unskilled labor force, those who are in Southeast Asian countries like Arab countries, for example. And the other thing is to increase the access of education, healthcare, and technology, right? So that is the economic impact that it creates, right? So the money flow will definitely increase the access to education at the household level, and healthcare of the household level, and the technology of the household level. So they prefer to get a good healthcare, good education, and definitely if the skilled labor, right, who is a professional, a doctor or an engineer, do impact the hosting countries in terms of this by constructing a new healthcare system or technology whatsoever in the country, right? And this contributes to GDP, gross domestic product, in the recipient terms, especially for low and middle income nations, such as we say middle income nations, countries like India, where this impact directly in GDP growth, right? The per capita income, and when you say GDP, the consumption of the family household also increases. So these are the economic impact, and on the other side, we need to look into the social impact, enhances community resilience, and reduce child labor, and supports preparedness for natural disasters. Right? So very, very important aspects is when the flow is taking place, there is a community resilience. Means in the community, if a person goes, the resilience, the repayment, the the status of that particular family, everything increases, and in the poor family, definitely will the child labor will reduce and supports the preparedness of natural disaster, and much beyond the social impact of the status of the family increases. And family enjoys the kind of support system and the social kind of the society, the look is the look in a different way, right? In the global context, when you look into in 2021 official remittance in lower income countries, we have seen this. We have seen that around 6.05 billion. So India is the top recipient, having 89 billion out of it, right? So this is the key characteristics of the remittances, right? So we need to look into this remittances aspect in a social, economical, and global context. And when you see the features of remittance, what is the purpose of remittances, right? The purpose is primarily used for family maintenance, education, health, and entrepreneurship and investments. So we also need to understand that people are not only sending their amount only for family maintenance or elevating the poverty or just for education, but also start up a business, entrepreneurship, and start an investment in bringing the industries, small scale industries on themselves, and investment on gold, investment on land. So this all will happen when a person goes, when the remittances increases to the family. And what are the major sending regions from where India gets a lot of amount? First one is the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC countries, which includes UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and Oman. Right? So these are the major countries where we get a lot of amount, because these countries where most of their uh, uh, unskilled laborers are there, and we have another major countries which is having diaspora based United States, significant but lesser in proportion due to higher income migrants, right? So because these people, those are going to the United States, most of them are skilled laborers. So that it is significant but lesser in proportion due to higher income migrants. Policy and infrastructure, like initiatives like pharmacy, uh, Bharatiya Divas, to engage the Indian diaspora, like it's a portal where the Indian diaspora people log in and get their account and all those things that is there in the pharmacy, Bharatiya Divas, and the improved mechanism most 900 to secure the efficient transfers, involvement of both banks and non-banking institutions. So modes of transfer, as you have seen, we will go on electronic transfer, mobile internet transfer, and all those things we know very well that what are the mode of transfers we have related to it. So, as part of the when you look into the conclusion of the remittance or lifeline for many families in India, right? So, the sources of for migrants remittances in India, as I have said, from the Gulf countries, especially United Arab Emirates, right? It gives 26.9 billion US dollars a year, followed by United States 22.9 billion, right? So we have Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, right? So when you calculate these things, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and Oman, so they are sharing the half of the portion of the total remittance, right? So the migrants in the US are well off and high skilled compared to migrants in CCC countries. So the remittance are higher in GCC, right? So the problem is only USA takes the high skilled compared to migrants in the GCC countries, so that we have lesser portion of the from United States. So, what is the mechanisms of remittances in India? What mechanism we have to get remittances in India? That is, in this in 2001, the government of India established a high-level committee on Indian diaspora under the leadership of LM Singhvi. So the committee is in 2003 came with various measures pertaining to better involvement of Indians living abroad. So the measures include like the establishment of a separate ministry for overseas Indians, and we have a pharmacy, Bharatiya Niwas, mission in different countries and many others. So the Foreign Exchange Control Act replaced by the Foreign Exchange Management Act in order to formalize the remittance and cut across the unwanted rules and regulations to have a kind of good money transfers with the Indians. At the same time, to curb the Hawala and non-resident Indian deposit schemes, to curb the Hawala money transfers, right? And there is a non-resident Indian deposit schemes were initiated to attract foreign capital to India, right? So the formal remittance channel in India, so we have demand draft, bank draft, drawn on a bank, mail transfers sent directly by the remitting bank, travelers' checks to be engaged in the receiver's country, international money transfers, we have SWIFT, like transmitted over SWIFT, and electronic transfers, ATM, and electronic money transfers. So these are the various transfers that is taking place related to it. So we have the kind of data published by Reserve Bank of India, in which mode the remittances from abroad take place, right? So Westro account, they have an international account. Through that, 75% of the money transfer is taking place. And SWIFT, it is 19.5, followed by direct transfer, and other including check and transfer have as a minimum of 3.4 and 1.9. So this is the conditions when it is related to money transfers. So what is the informal remittance channel in India? When you look into the informal remittances in today's context, remittance is not restricted to traders, but it is active among people living outside their homeland. So traders are coming and going. So there is an informal transaction is also taking place. So informal remittance can be legal or illegal, but it provides an easily accessible system for people who do not have access to a formal mechanism. That is the only thing. But it is not probably the case in 2025 right now, because we have a lot of methods to curb the informal money transaction. So migrant workers can buy precious products like TV, mobile, and other products and sell it back to their homeland to recover money in a local currency. So it is an informal money transfer. So they will buy a laptop from there instead of coming here with the money. So they will buy a laptop or a mobile or whatsoever. They will sell it here and get that amount. So among the informal remittance systems, Hawala is the most popular among all. Right? What is Hawala? Hawala system does not require physical money transfer, as it operates by illegal structure where money is transferred through Hawala agents active in the homeland. Okay, so they will remit there, here we will distribute. So it starts when someone who wants to send money contacts the Hawala agent and accept the amount and type of currencies to be sent, charges for the service, the amount to be received by the recipient at another end, right? So Hawala brokers. So these brokers, after agreement, provides a code to the transfer to the recipient of the money at the homeland. So this is kind of there is no physical transaction that is taking place. Does not require physical money transfer. It's all code, and The Hawala broker host plan, the host plan sends instruction to the broker at the homeland through fax, email, or telephone. Based on the instruction that the Hawala broker at the homeland pays the amount to the designated recipient. Right? This all support word system so that the country is more particular that this should not happen. So the entire process of money transfer has a unique feature at the center end. However, there is an option for the center to pay through the cash or checks in most cases. So, what are the key features of informal remittance? So, what has happened with the informal systems functioning for the remittance purpose? So, most of the informal remittance medium is Hawala, right? It's speedier than any form of banking system. It is observed with the help of different electronic mediums. So you go and you have to take and everything. But people do it with the Hawala transfer. It takes not more than 12 hours, while banking system requires at least 24 hours for process. So in case of rural areas, Hawala requires more time, but still transfers speedily than banks. Right? So probably you cannot now it's everything technology has improved and Hawala probably may get slower end. So for the other side does not require a large number of workforce as it operates through boards with very less people in the workforce. That's what is happening. So the total transfer is 2.2 to 5%, which depends on the amount to be transferred will have happening through Hawala, right? And problem with undocumented remittances is it is a source of financial terrorism. So problem with the undocumented remittances. It is leading to terrorism, so that country is very keen on how this money transfer is taking place. Okay. So the remittances being susceptible to illegal activities, including smuggling, like drugs and tax evasion, money laundering. So they will do the black money and make it a white money, or other forms of financial abuse. So there is an informal remittance system that be financing source of terrorism, where they are getting the money to buy a lot of weapons, get the source to make weapons or something like that. It's Hawala. So government of both migrant worker sending and receiving countries initiated various measures to curb informal remittances and promote formal remittances, ranging from an outright ban on informal remittances, mandatory minimum remittances requirements through the bank. So, all the migrant workers sending countries, the government of India, under the Foreign Exchange Management Act, we have Foreign Exchange Management Act 2000, explicitly prohibits the Hawala type of transaction. Right? So there should not be a middleman from there, and the code word and all those things. Prohibits. The term is very clear. Government prohibits Hawala transaction. Right? So the Indian government also promoted formal remittances by increasing efficiency and cost effectiveness of banking services. So the Reserve Bank of India Central Bank directed massive expansion of bank branches during the 1970s and 1980s. Right? So the most of the receiving countries, especially in the Middle East, Hawala is inaccessible. Right? It is not at all accessible. In Saudi Arabia, Hawala transactions are illegal under the banking control law. In UAE, Hawala brokers have to register with the central bank. In addition, Hawala brokers need to provide the information on remitters and the beneficiaries to the central bank. Right? So you see, in UAE, Hawala brokers have registered, whereas in Middle East countries like Saudi Arabia, it's prohibited. Whereas in UAE, they regulated it. You have to register, and you should give the information of the remitters and the beneficiaries. So those government initiatives reduce informal remittances of mixed receipts. Right? So it's very important, because the need is who is sending, who is the beneficiary, need to be known by the government. Right? So undisclosed and the implicit nature of informal remittance operation makes it extremely difficult for the regulatory authorities to enforce the law. So it is easy for Hawala dealers to continue their operation from a different location in case of closer to one, because most of the Hawala dealers require only a handful of equipment like a telephone or fax machine to start a business, because the mobile phone is if it is there, they will. So the main problem is the Hawala, right? In terms of remittances. So the usage of remittances. So when you say usage of remittances is one of the most significant links between the migration and development, right? So the information on use of remittances, right? So the major area is, the first one is household consumption, right? 42.28% in the rural community, the remittances amount used for household consumption. Comparatively with urban, it is 40.92. Right. So then the portion of it goes for education, that is biggerly 3.83 in a rural area, and purchase land is 0.35, and repay deed debts is 1.71, wedding 0.3, and build, purchase, renovate houses is 2.79, business related 0.95, whereas in urban it is 15.15. In rural it is 0.95 per business, but in urban it is 15. We need to look into it. And health related expenses is 14.36, bank and savings 5.5, agricultural production is 0.06, but in urban it's 0.13. Right. So altogether we need to look how this being spectrum, right? So very, very important aspect. What is the use of this remittances also? So so impact of the remittances different levels is a family remittances. So the consumption has increases. And the community remittances, the impact of remittance, economic inequality within the communities and the households have been discussed in the previous section also. So it gives the social remittance, that is transfer the ideas and attitudes, particularly with migrant return home, is receiving increasing attention, right? So when a person comes from abroad, he gets a lot of attention from the community. So impact of such social remittances like effects of financial remittances on social success, values, and for example, remittances like those effects are positive. However, negative results can occur when the migrant return with non-traditional attitudes that can cause disharmony in the family or community. Right. So that is very, very important aspect when you into the thing. So then this remittances has various impact, like first family, then community, and social impact that we come across, like NRI contribution to the construction of temples and to right-wing religions, cultural organization, right? Kind of such as transfer of knowledge, ideas, and expertise, right? And they go to the educational institutions and speak on the various achievements that there in their host countries and how we need to develop and all this. And remittance at the national level. So boost national foreign exchange reserves, right? How they exchange the ideas in terms of and encouraging further immigration in what are often explicitly described as a programs of labor expert, and by reminding immigrants that they have a patriotic duty to invest their savings back home, and further enhances on government revenue by taxing this income stream, and draws the excess of funds into deposit in the formal banking systems. So these are the various areas that we look into when the remittance takes place. So remittance at the household level, at the community level, socially, how it is impact and what are the remittance impact on the national building, right? Like Akshipar. Right? So these are the main areas that we need to discuss when we are looking into very the introductory part of this remittances or the impact of remittances. And the other area is the diaspora investment in the entrepreneurship. So what is their impact on entrepreneurship, right? So when you look into the aspect of entrepreneurship, differentiation of diaspora entrepreneurs from native entrepreneurs, that we need to understand how uh, they differ from the native uh, diaspora entrepreneurs. How to define diaspora entrepreneurship? Right? The major classification of diaspora entrepreneurship. So when we say the diaspora entrepreneurship, Indian diaspora today is spread across the globe, and diaspora entrepreneurs differentiate themselves from the native traders through some specific characteristics. What is diaspora entrepreneurs use a strong ties of religion, language, and ethnicity to unite themselves, and those ties usually play a major and remarkable role in their social, cultural, and intellectual as well as economic. Right? So imagine a person goes and comes up from abroad in other countries, in the host countries, he definitely might have built a good relationship or community, diaspora community in the host countries because there are a limited number of people from the home countries in the foreign countries. So that makes a person to build a kind of strong ties based on the religion, based on the language, ethnicity in the business. So diaspora members are often more willing than non-diaspora investors to take risk in starting or engaging in business activities in high risk or emerging markets. The one reason is because they have some money at their hand, their capital is small, so that they are willing to take risk than the non-diaspora people. So in the Indian context, we broadly differentiate three types of diasporas who are participating in the entrepreneurial activities. The first category is voluntary diaspora, such as Gujaratis, Hindi, and other entrepreneurs who are trading historically from their homeland through different networks. Right? So these Gujaratis or Hindi or other entrepreneurs who had a historical background of being an entrepreneur with the different networks, right? And other one is colonial diaspora who went from India as an indentured. The last class we learned indentured labor or other type of labor who are forced even, and later on got settled there. So these migrants acquired sources in their host land, and after that participated in the host land economic through entrepreneurial expansion. So the third type of is skilled migrants from India who migrated for various developed nations as a healthcare or IT professionals, mostly after 1960s. So all these distinct characteristics clearly reflect the influence of culture in the diaspora entrepreneurship. So these three type of entrepreneurs, like by culture, by history, they are settled in other countries like intellectual labor and or the skilled laborers, the third type, are forming a lot of entrepreneurial activity in the country. So entrepreneurship is one of the very important prospects in serving the development of the society, because the society with its interaction to other groups or societies and the process of exchange of goods is itself start from entrepreneurial ideas. So entrepreneurs can be seen as the economic functionary who forecast the wants of the consumers and lead to the two kinds of income. First is the contractual income, that is wage and rent, and residual income, that is profit of the entrepreneur. Right? So that is very important aspect of when you're looking into the entrepreneurship. So voluntary diaspora, labor colonial diaspora, and skilled migrants. These are the three types we have seen. So diaspora entrepreneurs was native diaspora entrepreneurs. We have just discussed that voluntary diaspora, labor colonial diaspora, and skilled migrants. So the diaspora entrepreneurs are able to take much risk than the native entrepreneurs, and they are able to tie up with other skilled workers from the hosting country. So knowledge, technology transfer, and international trade. So when you look into the knowledge and technology transfer, migration. So migration shifted from grain trade to grain gain circulation, emphasizing migrants towards economic remittances and knowledge sharing. So technological advancements is vital for economic growth, especially. So developing nations rely on accessing and adapting technologies from developing nations. Right? So ICT tools, AI, blockchain, and social media are reshaping the migration patterns and policies. And also, we have seen in the last class how the technology has impact on our diaspora formation and research and development. Technology transfer involves in licensing, trading, and how we need to collaborate with other countries. So, when you say the gaps in technology and knowledge, we have seen that technology gap, it is because of differences in R&D and invention, access to technology between developed and developing nations. So the factors influencing the gap and observative capability. So adapting foreign technologies to local conditions. Okay, and we have a technical capability generating new technological knowledge, right? And indicators include GDP spent on research and development and scientific output. And Southeast Asians show progress, but challenges persist, building labor safety and so technology kind of technology and information and transfer networks. So when we look into it, so the knowledge flows are often asthmatic, that means from there, with more outward migration than return flows. So countries like Taiwan, India, and China leverage their diaspora for R&D and industrial growth. So technology transformation, information transfer networks is by through the R&D research and developments and knowledge flow that is happened from top to down, and policy frameworks and institutional support are critical for successful technology transfer. So what policy the government is bringing to transfer the technology and the knowledge system? So for example, Singapore, Korea, and China show the value of systematic readiness and enabling to take the what to say the transfer very easily through their approach, right? And diaspora knowledge can drive technological progress and sustainable economic growth. And the role of technology in management and technological advancement. Role of technology in development. Technological advancement is fundamental for economic growth and improving living standards. And technology transfer includes various processes like R&D, investment, licensing, agreements, and trade. So these important aspects we need to know. And what is the importance of ICT and emerging technologies that we have discussed in the previous classes also? Information and communication technology tools assist migrants in communication and financial remittances stay connected to their work. It's very important. Today we have like WhatsApp, like various other form and artificial intelligence to create connectedness within the home and host countries. Financial remittances is it's not taking much day as like 1960s, 70s. Quickly they are able to send, and social media influence are all play a vital role. Key factors in reducing the gap is observative capability, ability to adapt and integrate foreign technology into local conditions. That's very, very important. And technical capability, like innovation and advanced technology. And the indicators of progress, GDP percentage allocated to R&D, output of scientific publication, levels of innovative capacity and pattern registration. Right. So migration is no longer seen as a brain drain, but a dynamic process of skills exchange and innovation. So developing countries need observative and technical capabilities to maximize the benefits of technology transfer. So this is successful technology adoption requires systematic readiness. So strong policy frameworks, right? So because the remittance, the connectedness, all based on the policy the country is having, and ICT is playing very, very important role in connecting the migrant diaspora community. So we need to take countries like China, Singapore, India, how they are taking the various steps to bring the connectedness in the country. So any doubt?